Let us feel the presence of God within our midst. All-powerful and ever-living God, Creator of heaven and earth, we praise and glorify your name. Your bountiful blessings have gotten us through our day-to-day activities, even though most of the time we don't deserve them. We thank you for saving us from our plans that could only lead us to harm's way. God, we ask for your forgiveness in times when we think we can do things on our own. Enlighten us to seek you in times when we are tempted to cheat, bully, or hurt anyone. And may we be reminded that whatever we do to the least of your people, we do unto you. Now, as we start a fresh learning adventure, may we implore you to always be with us as we pray in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Good day everyone, I am Erica J. Manansala, and today we will tackle about children who are gifted and talented. What comes to your mind when you hear the word gifted and talented? Children who are gifted and talented are those children who has a potential and ability to develop ahead of their peers. The way they think is wider and higher than a normal kid. But we all know that we are not perfect. Even the children who are talented and gifted has their own weaknesses in life. But I have here an example of students who are gifted and talented. They might be able to concentrate and focuses well on tasks, be intensely curious and ask sharp questions, learn very quickly, have an extremely good memory, be a very imaginative and creative, and has an advanced speech.
Good morning everyone, I am Alnor Sumoraga and I'm going to discuss about the history of gifted and talented education. The turn of 20th century advancement in education and psychology brought empirical and scientific credibility to the field of gifted education. The early studies of giftedness in the 1920s and 30s evolved from research on a mental inheritance, subnormal children, construction of instruments to measure both the sub and supernormal, and the realization that the graded school could not adequately meet the needs of all children. Lewis Terman and Lita Hollingworth spearheaded the movement and conducted some of the first widely published research studies on gifted children. Lewis Terman was the father of gifted education. In 1901, the first special education for gifted children opened in Worcester, Massachusetts. Furthermore, legislative efforts by the federal government in the early 1970s brought the plight of gifted school children back into the spotlight. In turn, a call was made for additional research and programming in the field of gifted education. The issuance of national standards by the National Association for Gifted Children also helped solidify the field's intent and provide school districts across the country with a set of programming criteria. Published in 2004, a Nation Deceive report on advantages of acceleration for gifted children, which illustrated America's inability to properly meet the needs of its able students despite the overwhelming research supporting acceleration.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmate. I am Shili Miss Sinumba. I'm going to discuss a timeline of key dates in gifted and talented education. In 1968, William Torrey Harris was one of the most widely known of American educator. Siya yung superintendent o Public School sa St. Louis at nagsisikap turuan ang mga gifted student sa public school. In 1969, Francis Galton seminal work Heredity, Genius, he published indicating that intelligence was passed through successive generations. In 1901, Worcester, Massachusetts opened the first school for inclusive, talented, and gifted students. In 1905, Bennett and Simon developed a series of tests to identify children of inferior intelligence for the purpose of separating them from normally functioning children for placement in special classrooms. In 1908, psychologist Henry Goddard teams with Alfred Bennett to develop and introduce the Bennett-Simo measurement scale as a way to test for giftedness. In 1916, Fame education psychologist Lois Terman oversaw change to the Bennett-Simo and Truly researcher and studied gifted children. He wrote 4 volumes of genetic studies of genius. In 1917, after entering the First World War, the United States needed a large-scale army. The Alpha Army and Beta were created and administered to over 1 million recruits, further legitimatizing intelligence, teasing not just with the academic elite, out also general public. In 1918 and 1921, Lulu Stedman established a opportunity room para sa mga gifted student sa University Training School at the Southern Branch of the University of California. Yun sa 1918. Sa 1921 naman, Lois Terman began what has remained the longest-running longitudinal study of gifted students. In 1922, Lita S. Hollingworth began the Special Opportunity class at PS 1965 in New York City. In 1925, Lois Terman published Genetic of Genius, concluding the gifted student. In 1926, the first textbook on gifted education, Gifted Child, Their Nature and Nurture, was published by Lita Hollingworth. In 1936, for gifted children aged 7 to 9 years old going an examination of intelligence as a multi-claimant control by Hollingworth. In 1944, Bill of Rights making a college education available to veterans from World War II and otherwise not have an opportunity to pursue higher education. In 1950 to 1954, National Science Foundation Act provide federal support for research and education. The National Association of Gifted was founded by Ann Isaac and Brown versus the Board of Education and Separate but Equal Education. In 1957, the United States began funding advanced education after the Soviet Union launched Sputnik. In 1958 to 1964, the National Defense Education Act passes. This is the first large-scale effort in gifted education by the federal government. The Civil Rights Act passes. In 1972, the Marland Report, the first formal definition, is issued encouraging schools to broadly define giftedness, along with academic act. Intellectual talent. The definition include leadership, ability, visual art, performing art, and creative thinking. In 1974 to 1975, Office of Education is given official status of the Gifted and Talented House within the U.S. The Education for All Handicapped Children Act established a federal mandate to serve children with special education needs but does not include children with gift and talent. In 1983, Howard Gardner proposed the idea what known as multiple intelligence. Number 1, musical. Number 2, visual. Number 3, verbal. Number 4, logical. Number 5, kinesthetic. Number 6, interpersonal. Number 7, intrapersonal. Number 8, naturalistic. In 1988 to 1990, Jacob Jobett's Gifted and Talented Student Education Act as part of the Reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. The National Research Cater out the Gifted and Talented was established at the university, including Virginia Yale University and the University of Georgia. In 1993, the case for developing America talent is written to provide guidance for educating gifted and talented students. In 1998, the National Association of Gifted Children, NAGC, published Gifted Program Standard for grade 12 pre to through 12, providing guidance for key areas for serving gifted and talented students. In 2002, the No Child Left Behind Act is passed, take the place of Elementary and Secondary Education Act. In 2004 to 2006, High School Hold Back America Brightest Student a national research-based report on acceleration strategies for advanced learner is published by the Belén Blanc Center at the University of Iowa. 2006, NAGC published National Gifted Education Standard for Teacher Preparations Program and Knowledge and Skill Standard in Gifted Education for all teachers. The standard were revised in 2013.
Good day, everyone. My name is Abigail Mallory and I'm the next reporter. So my topic is all about gifted and talented child. So let's read. Gifted and talented children means those persons between the ages of 4 and 21 whose abilities, talents, and potential for accomplishment are so exceptional or developmentally advanced that they required special provision to meet their educational programming needs. Children under 5 who are gifted may also be provided with early childhood special educational services. Gifted students include gifted students with disabilities, example, twice exceptional, and students with exceptional abilities for potential from all socioeconomic and ethnic cultural population. We all know that when we say gifted child, of course, those are born with above average natural abilities. Meaning, kapag ikaw ay pinanganak gifted, of course, you are smart and intelligent, right? And talented child naman have developed their abilities to a higher level. Gifted and talented children, ito yung mga taong nasa 4 and 21 years, which is their abilities, talents, and potential for accomplishment are so exceptional or developmentally advanced. So, pag sabihin natin na exceptional, of course, means that any children or youth who is eligible for a special program include students who are gifted and students with disabilities. Gifted students include gifted students with disabilities and students with exceptional abilities. So, example of gifted students with disabilities is twice exceptional. When we say twice exceptional, it refers to intellectually gifted children who have one or more learning disabilities such as dyslexia, ADHD, or autism spectrum disorder. And students' exceptional abilities naman, which is they can do everything. For addition, gifted and talented children also learn differently from other children. For example, if your child is gifted, they might be able to concentrate and focus well on tasks. I know na meron kayong natutunan sa na-discuss ko ngayon, and let's proceed to the next reporter.
Good morning, class. We proceed to our topic, general or specific intellectual ability. Alright, so when you think about specific academic aptitude, students are formally identified gifted and talented beginning in the 4th grade, and we usually use the MAP test as a determining factor for their qualification as well as 3 points of data. So they may qualify in reading, writing, math, science, social studies, world language. So if you're thinking about specific talented aptitude and student who have a specific talent aptitude may have some of these talent, maybe visual arts, performing arts, musical abilities, dance, psychomotor abilities, creative or productive thinking, and leadership abilities, and musical abilities. So guys, thank you for listening. I am Vanessa Abbas Mudabir.
Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. Intelligence is the capacity to learn used to produce new solution from what is learned, and it is ability to take reasons, questions, and draw conclusions. Howard Gardner of Harvard has identified 7 distinct intelligences. This theory has emerged from recent cognitive research and documents the extent to which students possess different states of mind and therefore learn, remember, perform, and understand the different ways. According to Gardner's 1991, according to the theory, we are able to know the words through language, logical, mathematically analysis, spiritual representations, musical thinking, the use the body solve problems to make things, understand to another individuals, and understand to ourselves. We individually differs in the strengths of this intelligence and the so-called profile intelligence, and in this way in which intelligence are involved or combined to carry different tasks, solve diverse problems, the progress of various domains. Gardner says that these different challenges and educational systems that assume that everyone can learn and same materials in the same ways that they universal measures. Suffices to test student learn. Indeed, as currently continued, our educational system is heavily based toward linguistic modes or interactions and assessment, and to somewhat lesser degree toward logical quantitative modes as well. Gardner agrees that contrasting set of assumptions is more likely to educationally effective. Students learn in ways that are identifiable, distinctive. The broad spectrum of students and perhaps in society as a whole would be better served as disabilities could present is a number of ways learning hold assistance through variety of means.
So these are the types of learners. The visual learner or spatial learner is a student who learns holistically rather in a step-by-step fashion, or a student who learns best when taught using the visual media. And the behavior of this learner is they enjoy looking at pictures, watching movies, drawing, and designing. And also, they learn best by visualizing, dreaming, and working with colors and pictures. The second one is the linguistic learnings. This learner is one who learns best through linguistic skills, including writing, reading, listening, or speaking. The behavior of these learners is they enjoy with reading, writing, telling stories, debating, and creative writing. And also they learn best by saying, hearing, and seeing words. The third one is the logical or mathematical learners. These learners love making and looking at maps, charts, outlines, and graphs. The behavior of these learners is they enjoy doing experiment, asking questions, and they learn best by classifying and working with abstract patterns or categorizing. The fourth one is the musical learner. These learners enjoy singing and listening to music or playing an instruments. And also these learners learn best by rhythm, melody, and music. And the fifth one is the kinetic learner. This learner would rather perform a physical activity to learn something instead of listening to a lecture. The behavior of these learners is they enjoy moving around, touching, and talking. And also they learn best by touching, moving around, and processing knowledge through action.
The sixth one is the social learner. These learners love being around people, working in a group teams and overall thrives through social interactions. The behavior of these learners is they enjoy being with friends, talking to people, and being part of a group. And they learn best by cooperating and sharing. The last one is the solitary learner or introspective learner. This learner is someone who prefers learning on their own. And this type of students are self-motivated, enjoy working alone, and learn best by self-paced instructions, reflecting, and individual projects.
Good day everyone, I am Chancellor Williams of Education Department. I am now assigned to tackle about the differentiated instruction for gifted students prevent bullying in school. So before I discuss about the given topic, let me give you first the knowledge of the picture below. As you see, the picture below says that there are individuals na nabubuli. Sa panahon ngayon, what are those main reasons kaya nabubuli yung mga estudyante? Most especially the students or the gifted students. Because of their tan skin, because of their physical appearance, and there are more reasons kaya nabubuli ng isang estudyante. And I am now giving you the differentiated instruction to prevent the bullying, most especially to those gifted students. The first one is promoting and modeling the use of respectful language. It is being consistent with your rules, giving them the ample time to complete tasks, and rewarding positive behavior are all ways of showing your respect. Modeling kindness and respect when you interact with someone will also demonstrate the kind of behavior you want to see from others. What I'm trying to say about promoting a respectful language, parang nagpo-promote tayo ng beauty product. When you are promoting a beauty product, kailangan yung target customer mo is makita kung ano yung effect ng product sa'yo mismo. Kaya, I'm telling you, the respectful language is being earned. Isipin na lang natin na tayong mga teachers is tayo yung mga endorser. Then, the students are the target customer. In order to earn the said respectful language, kailangan sa atin yung nauuna. Hindi lang naman dapat sa atin, dapat din the main endorser or yung supplier ng respectful language is dapat nanggagaling din muna sa bahay. Then, after that, pag pumasok naman yung student sa school, we are now as teachers are the responsible about the respectful language. Kasi pag nanggagaling sa atin mismo, yung respect na yun, pwede nila nang ma-apply sa sarili nila at sila na mismo yung gagawa sa ibang tao. Now let's proceed to our second instruction on how to prevent bullying in school. The second one is fostering an understanding of and respect diversity and difference. And fostering inclusion and awareness around multicultural education and taking a culturally responsive approach to teaching benefits in all students. Not only does creating greater multicultural awareness and inclusion help students with different backgrounds and needs succeed, but it encourages acceptance and helps prepare students to thrive in an exponentially diverse world. This point, in order to promote an understanding of and respect diversity and our differences as an individual. The main example of this is our LGBTQ friends. They are the main example of how to respect diversity and differences. When we were the kind of group of LGBTQ members, there are those different ways on how we respect the diversity and their differences between us. Like say for example, pag may mga nakakasalamuha tayo mga bakla, these are the main example of one of those LGBTQ, okay, yung mga bakla. When we are with them, we know that their appearance, yung mga appearance nila is talagang lalaki. But yung hearts nila is babae. Pinapakita natin yun. Respeto natin sa kanila as ganyan by calling them ate instead of kuya because of their physical appearance, and we know kung ano yung sa puso talaga nila, kung ano talaga sila as a human being. Second example is our Islamic friends. When we are in a party with them, napapakita natin yung respeto natin sa kanila in a way na kung alam natin kung ano yung mga bawal sa kanila, nilalayo natin sila doon. Because this is how we show them our respect and our differences. Because we are the Christians and them sila yung mga Islam. And I think it is the perfect way to describe the respect, diversity, and differences. And now let's move forward to our third instruction. Building relationship and communicating with families. Strong families have open lines of communication where all family members feel heard and respected. One of the best ways to strengthen your family is to increase your listening skills and those of other family members. Until we can hear each other, we cannot build a strong relationship. At this point, individual needs to understand the helpful concept of building relationship and communicating with our families. Therefore, I conclude na isa yung sa rason kung bakit nagiging pwede ang isang tao. Kasi tayo mga individual, we have we wanted to be heard, we wanted to be respected. May mga bagay na gusto natin pag-usapan, pero minsan hindi naman pag-usapan kasi hindi tayo napapakinggan. Hindi napapakinggan yung sa loobin natin, hindi tayo nagiging open sa ating family. This part, naiintindihan na natin kung bakit kailangan maging open tayo sa family. Kasi ito yung way na namumulat tayo sa mga bagay-bagay, namumulat tayo sa pagtanggap ng pagkakaiba-iba ng mga tao, ng mga individual, na dapat pinapahalagahan din natin ng kami ng iba. Kasi kung tayo na gusto natin pahalagahan, ano naman kayo ng mga gifted students na gusto doon marinig, gusto doon respeto doon. Kung tayo masasarili natin, gusto natin ng ganun, paano tayo magkaka-earn ng ganun kung tayo mismo, hindi tayo pantay sa ibang tao. And now let's proceed to our fourth instruction, constructively managing classroom behavior. Using these skills to manage classroom behavior can positively impact the teaching learning environment. The goal is to find a behavior management style that works for you and your students. Managing the dynamics of classroom behavior is kinda critical. Where we can maintain the positive vibes or the positive environment. Dapat lang talaga naiintindihan natin ang konsepto ng pagiging makatao. Kailangan maging humble at the same time, kailangan natin maging sensitive kasi hindi natin alam kung ano yung pinagdadaanan ng isang tao. Be kind with your words always. Pag nakikipag-interact ka with someone, always choose to be kind with your words. Think before you speak, always. Kasi pag ano yung lumalabas sa atin, napapakinggan nila. Hindi yung a-apply nila sa kanilang sarili. And now let's move forward to our fifth instruction on how to prevent bullying in school, especially to those gifted students. The fifth one is to suggest positive behavioral intervention strategies. The targeted behavior interventions tailored to each child's needs can prevent the challenge behaviors and teach children to use communication for positive behaviors in response to challenges. Effective behavior intervention plans can effectively minimize negative behaviors and ensure a healthy educational environment that optimizes and can improve family interactions. In this instruction, the main target is to meet the child's needs. Kung ano yung napagkakait sa kanila, napoprovide natin kung therefore, naka-adopt nila yung positive behavior. Mag-relax nila yung negative behaviors nila, nababawasan yung pagiging bully nila kasi napapakaya may nakikinig ng kanila, may nagsasabihan na sila. Kasi nga, kahit tayo, napahalubilo tayo sa positive environment, na-adopt talaga natin kaya nababawasan yung pagiging bully ng isang tao dahil sa positive environment, and therefore, it is also improves the family interactions.
Applying constructive disciplinary practices. Applying constructive disciplinary practices, positive discipline is a more effective way to manage misbehaving student in the classroom, rather than using punishment or rewards. How should discipline be applied? Thus, effective discipline means applied with mutual respect in a firm, fair, reasonable, and consistent way. The goal is to protect the child from danger, help the child learn self-discipline, and develop a healthy conscience and an internal sense of responsibility and control. It should also instill values. These are examples of positive discipline. Number 1, build a positive relationship. Number 2, use encouragement liberally. Number 3, problem solve together. Number 4, focus on teaching. Number 5, use discipline, not punishment. Teaching students skills including positive communication, anger management, and empathy for others. Teaching students skills including positive communication, anger management, and empathy for others, the ability to build positive relationship, especially with diverse individuals and groups, using a variety of methods such as active listening, and communication and conflict resolution skills. These skills also include the ability to resist pressure and to seek out and offer help. Empathy requires active listening. That means giving your full attention and listening to both a student's words and tone of voice. When you use active listening, think through and state in your own words. For example, you likely smile and take the trouble to remember people's name. That's empathy in action, giving people your full attention in meetings, being curious about their lives and interests, and offering constructive feedback are all empathic behaviors too. Engaging student in school or classroom planning and decision making. Engaging student in school or classroom planning and decision making, given the amount of decisions one is asked to make through their lifetime and the potential gravity of the repercussions, it's our duty to teach responsible decision-making skills to our students. Involving students in school decision-making increases their engagement and encourages their growth. Just because students want to have a voice doesn't mean they know how. Teaching them how to contribute is key. Maintaining a safe and caring classroom for all students. Maintaining a safe and caring classroom for all students and surroundings where students are willing to open their minds and actually listen to what you have to say. You can empower them to achieve their highest potential. The key to achieving this goal will require you to keep a few important things in mind. Here are some tips. First, be sure the classroom is clean, orderly, and inviting. Look at your classroom and ask yourself if it is a place that is distracting or a place that encourages students to do their best. If there are papers on the floor or things falling out of desks, it is distracting. That's all. I'm Moses K. Mayugandang. Thank you.